Angelo Zino is with us, Senior Equity Analyst at CFRA Research. So yesterday, look, Apple's been going nowhere fast when it came to that car. First, it was the car with no steering wheel and no pedals. It was going to be full driving. Then it was going to be partial driving. Project Titan is out. I mean, it's basically since 2014, right? Maybe this is a relief.
Yeah, no, Nicole, I think you're absolutely right to that extent. I mean, when you kind of think about just what's been kind of coming out of the news pipeline in terms of Apple's ambitions on the car side of things, definitely kind of things have kind of been tempering down in many respects. I'd say, there's a couple of months ago or years ago, we're talking about, Apple eventually, to your point, kind of going, fully autonomous in nature, EV vehicle. And then in recent months, those expectations really kind of tempered down to kind of moving from a level 4 to a level 2 type vehicle. And, when you kind of think about kind of how Apple looks at the long-term vision of different markets that they enter, typically the way they look at it is we're either going to be the best at doing this or we're not going to get into it at all. And that's kind of typical. That's really kind of been goes all the way back to the Steve Jobs era. And Tim Cook really kind of hinges on that, believes that. And when you kind of look at what's been going on here in terms of some of the car initiatives, it's been costing a ton of money, and it doesn't really seem like they gained much traction. So ultimately, they decide to ditch this, and they look to reallocate that money into other areas of their business. I think that's a good thing. I think if you're a bull, the one good thing or the one kind of hope that you had as far as the car is concerned is the price point. You're talking about potentially $100,000 price point, which is essentially kind of 100 iPhones in one type of device. So that would have been the needle driver in terms of the top line. You're not going to get that, but more importantly for Apple, it's all about improving the margins. It's about improving the free cash flow potential long term.
Look, I mean, they spent a lot. I mean, in one report, it said hundreds of millions of dollars. Another was over $1 billion. And the board was getting frustrated with the spending that was going on there. You wonder how much did they spend over that decade, right? And there's always the complaint that Apple doesn't have enough innovation. And, the headset is not going to be it for Apple, that they need more innovation. So maybe they can do this with generative AI. In the meantime, you maintain your buy rating. You are an Apple fan. It's at 181 today. Where do you think it's headed, and what will be the catalyst?
Yeah, no, I mean, we are still believers in the Apple kind of play out there. We do have a $210 12-month target price out there. So, we may not see the upside in Apple that we've seen kind of over the last 3 to 5 years. That's to be expected, as this is, a nearly $3 trillion market cap company generating, nearly $400 billion in revenue. So you're not going to get the type of gains that we've seen in years past. But when you kind of look at the risk reward of this name out there, we think it makes a lot of sense to kind of have that position in your portfolio. There are a number of growth catalysts out there for this company in the foreseeable future. Services, of course, is going to be the most important factor out there here over the next kind of 3 years or so. But there's a lot of other things that they can kind of do on the hardware side of things, whether we're talking about foldable phones out there, whether it be kind of, to your point, kind of some of the AI initiatives out there. And that's going to be a big point here in June, what they come out on that side of things and what that means for kind of that next iOS release and potentially what it means to iPhone sales as you kind of go into the iPhone 16 this fall. So that's really kind of more near-term focus on what investors should be looking at. But as far as monetization, just like Apple and other names, out there on the tech side of things, it will take time to monetize AI if you're not NVIDIA.
Yeah, understood. It's interesting, too. There were some reports about how Tesla didn't really move on the news. I mean, today Tesla's higher by 2%. I checked on Lee and NIO, and those were down about 2%. I guess no one really took this project too seriously. And how much, I mean, there's no doubt, I saw some layoffs yesterday. I saw it was about 2,000 people. Is it sort of hogwash that they're going over to generative AI? I mean, maybe 10 people out of the 2,000 are going to generative AI, right? I mean, there's definitely going to be some layoffs here.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, to your point, we have no idea how many people are moving over there. My guess is when you kind of look at really the move here, I'd say the ultimate goal here was really probably to improve the cost efficiency of the company here, improve kind of the margin trajectory and what have you. So really, that's probably the main initiative when it comes down to it. And you threw the point out there, and the hundreds of millions and potentially billions that were spent here over the last decade.
Yeah.
You don't want to go another 5 to 7 years kind of doing
Yeah.
that, and that's the ultimate reason for ditching this.
Yes. And just in your morning meeting, I don't want to let you go without picking your brain. I mean, what was on your mind today? What's your buy rating? What else are you watching quickly? Anything else that I want to share with the viewers? Any buy thoughts on anything else?
Yeah, I mean, listen, as far as kind of, we're concerned, I mean, we continue to like the semiconductor theme out there a lot. There's probably some digestion needed here after kind of that great release that we saw out of NVIDIA last week. But if we were kind of, tilting investors in any area of, the tech theme here into 2024, if you were to see any sort of pullback here on the semiconductor side of things, that's where we would be continuing to pile up. And this makes kind of sense right now here over the kind of the next 2 to 4 weeks, where hopefully we start seeing some digestion to kind of give more investors the opportunity to play that theme out there.
Thank you for that. Angelo Zino,
Yeah.
CFRA Research. Thank you.